Dear fellow U.S. citizens, I am speaking to you today about my dear brother, Thomas Saba. I chose today because it is the beginning of Memorial Day, the unofficial beginning of summer. For years now, myself and many people that I know have looked at Memorial Day as a fun day to get together with family and friends and have barbecues, go to the beach, go swimming, go to big huge bargain sales that all the stores are having, because that's what Memorial Day was. Memorial Day has lost its true meaning. Memorial Day is supposed to be a day that we remember all of those who have died for our country. And recently, my dear brother, Thomas Saba, was one of those people. He died on February 7th, 2007, when his helicopter was shot down in Iraq. He was on a Medivac Helicopter. Terrorists do not believe in international law, so therefore they shot down a Medivac helicopter right after they delivered 3 people to a hospital, and they were on their way to pick up blood that was needed desperately for those injured patients. My brother Thomas Saba, Corporal Thomas Saba, should not have even been in Iraq. He was due to be discharged this past April. He had spent the last few years in Okinawa, Japan. However, as soon as he heard his unit was to go to Iraq, he stood up and he re-enlisted and went to Iraq with his unit. He was in Iraq for 10 days when his helicopter was shot down, and he was the only one in his unit on that helicopter. Talk about winning the worst lottery. However, some people do talk about it as, you know what, it's death. Maybe it's a wonderful thing. Maybe he's in a wonderful place. And that's what I hope, and that's what I pray, and that's what I believe in. But I'm asking you today, American citizens, United States citizens, whichever way politically correct that you would like to call it, I'm asking you to please remember what Memorial Day truly is. Please put displays up in all of your stores. Don't just announce that you're having a big, huge Memorial Day sale. Please, bookstores, libraries, schools, display Memorial Day. Last week I went into Barnes & Noble's, actually this is about 2 weeks ago, and I asked to see the display for Memorial Day after spending about 2 hours in there with my children, and after I purchased something off of the Father's Day display. They turned and looked at me and apologized and said there is no display for Memorial Day. And they offered to look up a book for me if I wanted. But after spending 2 hours there with my children, I declined. I did not have the time or the desire at this point to sit around and wait for them to look up a book. Besides, I was really saddened by the fact that they didn't even display Memorial Day, considering they do display most other U.S. holidays. So I went home that night and I had another nightmare, as I do many nights since my brother has died. And I woke up the next day and I decided that that was not going to be the end of it. And I called up Barnes & Noble's and I spoke to a very nice store manager named Noah. And Noah sent me Purple Tulips, a book for me, a book for each of my children, which is 2, also a box of candy and a box of cookies. And he asked, is there anything else that he could do? And I just said, no, please call corporate. Please be my advocate and ask that Barnes & Noble start displaying for Memorial Day. Then I started a chain letter with all my family and friends about what Barnes & Noble's did and how we could start to get Barnes & Noble and the rest of the bookstores and libraries and schools out there to display for Memorial Day. I sent this chain letter around, and within a week I got a letter back from the Director of Customer Service, Franchos, I can't remember her last name, asking me to telephone her. And when I called her, she told me that she had just donated $3.4 million to military charities and wanted to let me know before it went to press. And she explained to me that it would be a slap in the face to veterans and to current military personnel if they put up a display for Memorial Day, because there's hardly any books on the issue, and also that it was not profitable. Again, as United States citizens, citizens of this country, whether you believe in this war or not, we need a military. We have no choice but to have a military, because if you know anything about history, history repeats itself. So it's very important that we have a military in place. And our Commander-in-Chief, the man that we elected, President Bush, has chosen this war. So we must carry that out, and our military personnel have no choice but to follow the orders of their Commander-in-Chief. So for anyone out there to say that certain military personnel deserve to die, they deserved what they got, is just ludicrous. We need to back up our military. And we need to start celebrating Memorial Day again, because our country is at war. We do not want 9/11 to happen again. And my brother joined this war because of 9/11. So I hope that people out there will start to remember and think on Memorial Day about all of those men and women that have risked their lives, all of those men and women that are currently out there risking their lives. And please remember and light a candle for my brother, Corporal Thomas E. Saba, whom was killed on February 7, 2007 after only 10 days in Iraq, and he died for our freedom. Thank you.